Hello and welcome to Behind the Lines. I'm Diane Dayton. Today I am so excited because we're going to talk about the 2022 Atlantic League champions, the Lancaster Barnstormers. And it is great to have both of you here. We've got Ross Peeples, the manager, of course, and we also have Troy Steffy, you are the bench coach and baseball operations, right?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, you're also known as the mayor and other names you answer to as well?
Yeah, I guess Mayor, Peeps, Skip, whatever. I just got my head on a swivel looking.
Okay.
Hear a name, maybe it's for me, I don't know.
Well, this is so exciting. I can't believe the season that we just had with the Barnstormers, especially when you look at the first half, the second half. It's like, what happened, Ross?
Yeah, well, we couldn't believe it either. I mean, the first half we struggled a little bit and all, and, right before the first half, I guess you could say we got some guys healthy and got a couple of new guys and kind of went into the second half where we wanted to be. And Troy, I don't know what, 6 to 10 games in, we lose our 3-hole, 4-hole, and 6-hole hitter. So now we kind of back in the dumps, and we have to go out and get some guys, and we end up replacing with some quality guys, made a couple of trades, and the second half we started playing well. Started having some things roll our way. The guys started loving each other, playing for each other, and it was just fun to watch.
And I think they had fun too, didn't they?
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, is that right, Troy?
Yeah, I think the chemistry. Ross always preaches. Look to the left, look to the right. Those are your family, and play for each other, love each other, and it really showed this year the chemistry in that clubhouse, and they just had fun, and it was on and off the field. They were just great guys.
It's like everybody elevated each other.
Yep.
That's exactly what happened. It was fun to watch it grow, and to you can definitely tell in their body languages, and they're just the happiness to be at the field, to just go out there and compete with each other.
Yeah.
You could see the effort level go up.
Yeah.
The love for each other. They started pulling for each other. They started depending on each other. Yeah. And it was fun to watch it develop, and and to see.
Yeah. And it's the whole house, isn't it? Everybody. It's everybody that's involved with this. Let's talk a little bit about your background too. Now, of course, this is the third time we've won, right?
That's right.
And those years?
6, 14, 22.
22. You were talking a little bit earlier when we were in the other room about what you were seeing as similar with a couple of those years. Was it 2014?
Yeah, I actually didn't notice, and I guess out of the three championships we won, the second series, we ended up winning 3-0. We won 3-0 in Bridgeport in 06, and in 2014, we swept Sugarland 3-0.
Right.
And obviously in this one here, we beat High Point 3-0. So I didn't even realize that, and I was a part of all three of them. So
well, what a beautiful thing!
That's
what a beautiful
awesome.
thing. And
Awesome
we were
to see.
talking earlier too. You've been here since 2005 through 2014. You were playing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I played from 5 to 14, 2005 to 14. In 15 and 16, 2015 and 16, I was the bench coach. And then in 17 was my first year managing.
Yeah, wow. So let's talk a little bit more about what you do too, Troy.
Okay.
Because you are the bench coach, baseball operations. So really, what all do you do?
Basically, I'm kind of his right-hand man. It comes as far as the baseball ops end of it. I'm just basically, getting players in, making sure their housing's set up, so forth and so on, help them on the field, whatever they may need during the games, so forth. We run the camps, the clinics for the youth, and then I kind of oversee the field as well, too, the grounds crew.
He does a little bit of everything.
Okay. All right,
He's got
you
his
need
hand a
somebody to
little
do
bit
that, right? And bring it all together. Your background is interesting, too. Tell us a little bit about that.
So I've been I was on the pro end just doing the scouting with the Astros, the Blue Jays, and then the Devil Rays. And then I went to amateur baseball. I was a director of baseball operations on the amateur side for a few years. And then Ross had asked me to help him out in 18, as a volunteer assistant. I really kind of liked it. And then they had offered me a full-time position in 2019.
Yeah.
So
it's a good place to be, isn't
it's
it?
great, yeah.
Yeah, it really is. It's really good. And you talk a lot about the team being family, and that really is key. Because when you think about the team as your family, there are certain things you put into place, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, even putting the team together, we got by, there's a lot of different phases we look at when we get recommended a player, and we check with different people of, asking about the player, doing our research on him and this and that, and we try to, build the team and associate ourselves with, quality young men.
Absolutely.
We look at their social media accounts as well too. to
Right,
see what
because
we
it's
see.
not just how they play and their stats on the field, right?
Oh,
It's
100%.
more than that. So what are those other things that you look at for players and putting together?
Well, I
a
mean,
team?
asking around doing our research, if we check with 2 or 3 people, 4 or 5 people, and we have one person even to say that, hey, he's not a very good person or he's this and that, to us, he's pretty much going to be a no.
Okay.
It's just that, it's so important to have what goes on in the locker room, being comfortable. You're with those guys 6 months out of the year, every single day. And a lot of, what goes on in the locker room carries out to the field, and most good teams, most championship teams, they have a good nucleus and a good camaraderie inside that locker room.
So when you talk about the camaraderie inside the locker room, what are we talking about? Are we talking about what they say to each other, how they respond? What are things that you look at? Or what is that in the locker room, Troy?
Well, I don't, sometimes you'll see like different, guys all pair off. That'll be this group and that group and this group and so forth and so on. When you have that chemistry or that culture that's created in the clubhouse that's a positive one, you see all the guys are all together. Everybody's pulling for each other. Everybody's, joking with their practical jokes here or there, whatever it may be. But, it's all kind of pulled together and everybody's, tugging on the same rope in the same direction.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to look also, there's, putting together a team. When you have a team, I mean, you got people from all over the country.
Right.
All over different states. To a point all over the
Cultures.
world.
Yeah.
You got California guys, you got Arizona guys, you got Dominican guys. You might have a North or South Dakota guy. You might have a New York guy. You might have a Florida guy. Venezuela, Mexico. Like, you got different lifestyles coming into a point too, and sometimes it can be tough in there. And you definitely see. Beginning of the year is usually everybody's excited. Everybody's excited to meet each other to play. When you get to the dog days of summer, that August, end of August, 1st September, that's when, stuff that starts bothering you that didn't bother you earlier in the year. So that's the stuff you got to manage a little bit more, in my opinion, because that's where it sets the good teams from the bad teams.
Wow. It's such an interesting stew, as it were, right, that you
Right.
have to put together.
That's right. And you got to have a leader. You got to have a leader in your clubhouse. And, coaches can only do so much.
Who is the leader in the clubhouse?
Well, there's a lot of potentials, but, there's some that stick out more than others. Trayvon Robinson was probably the leader this year.
Okay.
In there, when he got here, he kind of was the veteran. He's been here before. He's a veteran guy. He knows some of the ropes. He's played for me for a while, so he knows what I like, what I don't like, what our Barnstormer ways are and what our Barnstormer ways are not. So, and he would always, make sure the guys are going by what our beliefs are.
So he was a rock for you. He was somebody you could depend on.
That's right.
To bring the team together with what was the overarching idea of what you want to bring together.
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. He did a very good job. He did a very good job of that. And a lot of things about being success is staying healthy. And you're gonna have in a season, you're gonna have some up and downs, and you're gonna have some guys get injured, and you got to try to replace quality players with quality players. It's always not that easy, but it's a step that's important that you got to look into.
Yeah, and it seems like there's a lot of movable parts, and it's changing continually, right, Troy? So you have to be aware of what's going on.
Oh, absolutely. We have to have the kind of the heartbeat of the team, whatever thing's doing. To kind of go back to what Trayvon, we were talking about Trayvon. I saw Trayvon take some of the rookies to the side and sit down with them and talk to them. And hey, this is how we act. This is what we do. This is all about being professional. So, you know, it is a balancing thing, and the things that he may not see, you know, the coach is responsible to kind of go let him know, you know, what's going on. So we're all kind of looking out for the best interest.
Okay. Were there any rituals that you had with the team in place before a game, or anything else that would be a part of what you would do regularly with them?
I don't know if we have a certain thing we do. I mean, you know, we have a meeting the first game of every series.
Okay.
So, and that's pretty much to, you know, talk to them about how we played the last couple of days, to what we need to improve on, to how we going to pitch their guys, how we going to play their guys defensively, to what their pitchers go to, throw. You know, it's a lot of preparation, you know, as far as going into that series.
Okay. Your thoughts, Troy?
There was actually a green towel that our clubhouse manager, Blake Glass, had come up with, and he would put it on his belt, and you know, whenever we needed a run, I'd walk over and I'd rub this towel, and miraculously we'd get some runs. We're down in High Point, and that 7th inning when we put up 7 runs, I had rubbed the towel before that inning, and the championship game, you know, it was just kind of a I don't know, a good luck piece for it. I don't know where that towel is. That'd be nice to have.
It's on my chair.
You have it?
Yeah.
All right.
D. Sabatino and Josh Graham gave it to me after the game and pretty much told me what it was.
So you didn't know?
Well, I had no clue about it until they gave it to me.
Right?
So they gave it to me when we won it after the game.
We were just, Blake and I were just joking around, and I said, let me rub that for, and then all of a sudden we got runs, and I was like,
He said they bring it out every game.
yeah.
Wow. Well, that's something we didn't know about, so that's great.
I think we got it in Southern Maryland somewhere. I don't know where it came from, but yeah, that was kind of our...
Wow. This is so much fun getting the inside story for the 2022 Atlantic League champions, Lancaster Barnstormers. You two are great, and we've got so much more to talk about. So stay with us.
LCTV 66 is your community channel, and your donations keep us on the air and help to produce more local programs. Send your tax-deductible donation of $500, $100, or more to the address on the screen. Or think of it this way: for the price of a couple of movie tickets, you can help support your community channel. Send what you can and be a part of all that is good about Lancaster County. Thank you for your tax-deductible donation to LCTV 66, Lancaster's Connection.
Welcome back to Behind the Lines. We're talking about the 2022 Atlantic League champions, Lancaster Barnstormers. We've got Troy and we've got Ross, and we've been talking about how magnificent the second half was and some of the behind things, and the green towel. That was magical, I suppose, right?
Yeah.
So if we look at what's going on during the season, what goes on during the off season?
Try to relax a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, you know, there's a pretty much a lot that goes on, I guess you could say. We usually after the season, for me, I usually try to take 4 to 6 weeks off, try to relax and all, you know, especially after we get the clubhouse cleaned up and, you know, from the season and all. But take a little bit of time off, and then, you know, kind of start working towards, you know, stuff for the off season. Troy does some camps and clinics.
Okay.
There's a couple of guys that come up and hit in the off season and all. And usually right after the New Year's, we'll start putting the team together and all. But you know, you're always having agents and players hit you up, you know, for next year. So we keep a book, and we're always taking names.
Yeah. What about you, Troy? I mean, you're involved with all of that as well.
So, like reaching out to a lot of the youth organizations, you know, what can we do then? We created this partnership league where the youth organizations are kind of partners with us. How can we help you? What are your needs? What can we do for you? Last year, a lot of the organizations asked for coaches clinics, so I went out and I did those. A couple organizations asked me to come take a look at their athletic or at their baseball fields and saying, what do we do? How can we make this safer? Is this safe? We have some draining issues, whatever it may be. We do a lot of the youth development programs in the wintertime. We have some player clinics coming up this year where Trayvon and Clark, D. Sabatino, and Peroni are doing some one-day clinics. So, and then we have some month-long clinics as well, too.
Wow. That's so key, isn't it?
Yeah. We always say that, it's a reciprocal coach. I did, as a coach, I did what my dad taught me, and my dad did what he, taught him, and so forth. So, we just want to get out there and educate the coaches, make sure that they understand, the game has changed a little bit, and, we're kind of here to help them and educate them.
Yeah. One thing I thought was so amazing for that championship game, and we were talking about this a little bit earlier, it was September 30th, right? In the middle of high school football season. And we're thinking, well, who's coming out? Heavens, there were over 5,600 people in that stadium. And the stadium holds 6,000.
Yeah, right.
It was full. The energy was unbelievable, right?
Oh, yeah, I thought the atmosphere and everything was, bar none, awesome to see, awesome to feel. And, whether the fans know it a lot or not, our players really enjoyed playing in front of them.
Wow.
They really fed off of them. They really looked forward to playing at home, and they had a big part of, the championship. Yeah. I mean, it was fun to watch the focus of the players just feeding off, the fans. But you can't beat that atmosphere, even with the weather the way it was a little bit, Even when we was taking our little victory lap, there was 10, 12 deep back there, 11 o'clock at night. So, man, they've been great, and they definitely helped pull us through. And you could see, I thought the biggest thing for me was the second half, you could especially see it grow. You could see more and more people starting to get involved, more and more people paying attention. I can tell that even from myself, my phone, the texts I used to get from people that I haven't talked to in a while or whatever it might be, just noticing that we was doing good, we was getting better, we was going to the playoffs, so forth and so on. They started following along.
Wow. That energy you just can't beat, Troy.
Well, it was funny. Earlier in the day, our hitting coach, Jeff Bianchi, had said to me about, what kind of attendance you think we're going to get. And I said, well, listen, this is high school football, crazy area. I wouldn't expect a lot. And when we walked out on the field and saw that, and I was like, holy, this is just crazy. And it just shows the front office, they get all the credit for that, for pulling that off and pulling them away from high school football games. They did an amazing job.
Absolutely. I think it says a lot about the fans and the support that you can get here in Lancaster, because according to Ballpark Digest, voted Clipper Magazine Stadium #1 in the country, and this is the 3rd year, right?
Right,
Yeah.
That's right.
So that says a lot about how people come together, because that was something you have to go on and continually vote.
Right.
Yeah.
So you have to be present and be a part of it, right, Ross?
Right, absolutely. Our front office does a fabulous job of that kind of stuff, especially like getting out to the community. Our GM, Mike Reynolds, I mean, he's not scared to try things. He's not scared to get out there. He's not scared of failure, and they do a great job of getting out in the community and trying to build relationships, throughout every year.
And I think you'll see that too. So if you go to the LancasterBarnstormers.com, right, go to the website, you're going to see all kinds of things that are going on there all the time.
That's right.
And what also is great is during the season, with a lot of nonprofits and other organizations, they're tying them into what's going on with the
That's
team
right.
too, right?
That's right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's right.
And that's huge, because I think you've got the audience, you're learning more about the community at what's become a huge community hub, which is right there at the
They put their thinking caps on as a group, and they come up with ideas to how can we tie this in with this, or how can we tie this in with this, and it definitely shows, and it's definitely a plus and positive points around in the community for sure. I think.
Yeah. So okay, you've been a player for many years, and now you've been manager now for a few years. Tell me what you've learned as manager versus being a player and all of that dynamic.
Well, for one, there's a difference between playing and coaching, and there's a difference between coaching and managing. I can tell you that. But I think the biggest thing is you learn to manage people. Mm-hmm. You learn to manage people, and when you got to understand that when you make your decisions, you're looking at 25, 27 guys or whatever the roster is, which actually is 27 this past year. So you're trying to make what is the best decision or whatever for 25, 27 guys. Mm-hmm. And what's the best interest in the program, and, doing that, brainstorming, talking, communicating with the coaching staff and all, they help out with that. They help ease that a little bit. But, you got to, a lot of these guys have families. Yeah. Some of them have kids. Mm-hmm. You got a mixture from a 23, 24-year-old to a 33, 34-year-old maybe. Yeah. And it's two different things. And, my wife's pregnant. I got to go home for when the baby's due, so he might miss 3 or 4 games and stuff like that. But, you let them go because that's important. There's a lot, all that's a lot more important than baseball.
It's managing life.
100%.
And baseball is a part of that life. And I think in one article, what you were saying, and we were talking about the difference between the first half and the second half, was how these guys started to love on each other, which we talked about in the first segment, and play for each other. And that's how it took off. And that's what you do as a manager, too, because you are loving them when you can see what's going on in their life and making a difference 100%. In all of that, right?
Oh, I agree 100%. With that, knowing what's important to them. Yep. And, and I've learned this before I got into it, and I think it's one of the biggest things as being a manager is, you got to be honest with them, and if you're honest with them, you got to gain the respect from them, and all that takes time, but it takes to, digging into that kid's career, that kid's lifestyle, that kid's family, and stuff like that.
Yeah. Troy, give me a final thought.
Well, the thing that I liked, Ross had taught me a lesson a couple of years ago that I wish I would have known back when I was coaching college baseball is he encourages the coaches to go out and get to know the player. What makes them tick, what motivates them and things like that. And I think that was, all coaches should really kind of, get to know the kid or the athlete, I should say, and what motivates them, what's not, what's going on outside their, their life and things like that. And I think that, once Ross taught us that and encourages us to get to know the players, I think was, an encouraging thing as a coach.
Yeah, it all comes together, doesn't it?
Yep.
It really does.
It does.
Yeah. Well, I know I was so excited to be a part of that last championship game. The energy was amazing. So thank you for everything that you do, that you bring to the team and to the community, because it really brings us all together. It's good for all of us.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can redo it next year.
That's what we're hoping for. That's what we're hoping. So hold on to that green towel, too.
That's right.
Don't lose that green towel. Thank you so much for giving us some insight into what goes on behind the scenes and your part in all of that. Thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for joining me today, too. I'm Diane Dayton with Behind the Lines, reminding you to look behind the lines. You might be surprised what you find.